Welcome to Season 2, Episode 18 of the BRASH Sports Podcast, brought to you by Rich White People Car Commercials. It's officially Christmas season, and that can only mean one thing: obnoxious white people pretending to gift each other cars in every single commercial break. You might be thinking to yourself, who actually does this? Nobody? That's correct. But it wouldn't be the holidays if you didn't feel like a broke-ass piece of shit. And what better way to accomplish that than by watching milky, basic-ass, corny white folks putting a giant red bows on luxury vehicles while acting like it's not a big deal to drop $65,000 on a present. And when you do, be sure to use promo code BRASH37 to save 37%. Rich white people car commercials. Yeah, we're sick of them too. Brandon, I'm definitely sick of those fucking commercials. I'm over them. What's going on with you, man? How's everything going?
I absolutely despise rich white people car commercials during the holidays, but I'm happy they were willing to sponsor episode 18 of season 2, so that was nice of them.
Yeah, they apparently have tons of money to throw around because they're buying up so much ad space. It's every single commercial break for every sporting event I watch or every show I tune into. You're gonna see one in the month of December every time they cut to commercial. So the fact that they were willing to shell out a little extra cash for us, huge because we need it. Now, obviously, we had a big NFL weekend, a lot of craziness. Giants versus Redskins, we'll get to that. But let's go ahead and jump into our run through and just cover all the games that happened this past weekend.
Man, it was another terrible pick'em week for this guy right here. Good pick'em week for you over yonder. But let's start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers beating the Atlanta Falcons right away. I was 0-1 after this game. The score here was 19-16. Kenny Pickett finished the day with 16 completions out of 28 attempts, 197 yards, 1 TD, didn't throw a single pick. It was his fourth straight game with no interceptions, which, you know, if you had just put me on the spot and asked me that, I would not have gotten that correct.
Yeah, it's really impressive for a rookie to do that.
And Steelers are 4-4 now under Pickett. And the Falcons have lost 4 of their last 5 by a total of 22 points. They fall to 5-8. Steelers, on the other hand, that's now their third win in a row.
I think so, yeah.
They're making a case for potentially sneaking into that wild card spot at 5-7. Don't ever count out Mike Tomlin and those pesky Steelers.
Dude, they're always somewhere around 500. He's never been under 500, so they could, if they keep winning. I don't know who they play next, but the Jets are on a downward spiral. The Ravens are not playing well. Like, these playoff teams in the AFC that are kind of spiraling down, Steelers are on a upward trajectory. So who knows? We might see the Steelers back their way in the playoffs yet again. I think it's doubtful, but who knows, man? This year, crazy shit's happening left and right, so anything's possible.
Yeah, probably have to win out at this point. And let me correct myself. I'm pretty sure it's actually a 2-game win streak, but probably they're only back-to-back wins this season, which is a big deal for Steelers fans. And I mean, you know, win your final 5 in a row, you'll get the wild card spot. So I'm sure Steelers fans, they believe they can do it.
Yeah.
Another team in the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, also get the win, but yet again, not an impressive one for those Ravens. They beat the lowly Denver Broncos 10-9. Lamar Jackson left the game with a knee injury in the first quarter. That's interesting. That could set up really another win, really, for the Steelers. I believe they have them this upcoming week, so good timing. But it was Tyler Huntley who stepped in. He finished the day with 27 out of 32, 187 yards, 1 pick, and he came through when it really counted the most, leading the team on the 16-play, 91-yard drive and scored the game-winning touchdown with only 28 seconds remaining on the clock. Neither offense surpassed 300 total yards. And this was, of course, the Broncos' 4th straight loss. They have scored only 45 points in the last 4 games. They fall to 3-9. The Ravens now at 8-4, not a convincing 8-4. I know I say it every week. I'm a broken record over here, but I just don't know how the Ravens are holding this winning record, because they look anything but if you actually watch them play and see who they beat and how they squeak by. But of course, they're still leading the AFC North at the moment. But it's by a cunt hair, Josh, by a cunt hair.
It is absolutely by a cut and hair. They have the same record as the Bengals. I think they own a tiebreaker somewhere down the line. Yeah, they look like shit. The Broncos, I mean, my God, you can't score 11 points to beat a team that's just hobbled. Like the Ravens are so injury plagued year after year. I don't know who's like their team doctor or something, if he's fucking with these guys, but they're constantly hurt. Lamar Jackson goes out, and the Broncos were already leading at that point, I think 6-3 when he went out. It's like, dude, guys, figure out a way to get in the end zone and you'll win a game. And they still couldn't do it. Like, Hackett's got to go. Russell Wilson needs to go to the Manning Football Academy, passing academy, whatever, learn how to be a good quarterback again. He's not throwing deep, and that's typically been his strength, has been the deep ball. But I think he was averaging like 5 yards a throw this game. Like, why aren't they going over the top? Raven secondary isn't that good. I don't know. These two teams are just kind of irrelevant to me. Like, Baltimore's probably going to make the playoffs, but not going to make any moves in the playoffs. And the Broncos are the worst team in the NFL. That I've been saying that week over week.
I had a bold prediction that we would see Russell Wilson get benched in this matchup, and I'm surprised it didn't happen. In fact, had it happened, that might have given them that extra little spark they needed to score 11 more points, because that's all they needed in this one. The Denver Broncos ownership just appears completely lost, because now we're 13 weeks deep. They haven't made a change at the coach, and we all thought Nathaniel Hackett should have been gone 6 weeks ago. So I don't know. I mean, they're just going to roll. They're just going to roll with it for the rest of the year. They're looking at it as a good tanking opportunity, because they're not going to have Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback next year. There's no way. And in all likelihood, right after their week 18 game, because week 18 game, then we'll see Hackett get the boot, and they'll start fresh next season.
Yeah, he's got to get the boot. And yeah, I don't know what you do with Russ after paying him all that money. But best of luck to him. I just feel terrible for that defense, man. They're a top 5, I mean, easily top 5, probably top 3 defense in the entire league. And they have the most pathetic offense on the other side of the ball. That's got to be so frustrating for those guys.
Green Bay Packers, they got the win against the Chicago Bears. This is one you and I both agreed on. The score there was 28-19. Rodgers still owns the Bears, especially in Soldier Field. There was the 8th straight win against Chicago for Aaron Rodgers. And Packers, they were trailing 19-10 going into the 4th. They outscored them 18-0 to close the game out. And Christian Watson does it again. I'm keeping him on both of my fantasy starting lineups, because he doesn't show any signs of slowing down, this guy. He went off for 94 total yards and 2 TDs, one of those being a rush touchdown. So utilizing Watson in all types of different ways, the Packers are. Green Bay now moves ahead of Chicago as the winningest regular season team all time in the NFL, with 787 wins. Packers now at 5-8. The Bears at 3-10.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was on the line. The most regular season wins of all time. They were
Isn't that weird?
Tied. They were tied yesterday.
How does it time out like that?
It's
crazy shit. Yeah,
absolutely crazy. So Green Bay moves ahead. Rodgers just doesn't lose to the Bears. I don't know. When I was picking games, I was like, well, the Bears are better, I think, but the Packers just don't lose to them, even in Chicago. Rodgers just has a weird way of beating them. They were losing. They fucking came back. He owns them. He fucking owns them.
Indeed, he do. The Detroit Lions sticking in the division. They got a win as well. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 40-14. This one wasn't ever close, except at kickoff, I suppose. But
yeah,
Lions, the motherfucking Lions, as Josh likes to refer to them as, they didn't punt the entire game. Jared Goff, he had a solid outing, 31-41, 340 yards, 2 TDs. Amon Ra. I always just want to say Amon, but it's Amon Ra St. Brown. He had 11 catches for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Jamal Williams scored his 14th touchdown of the season. Don't look now, but the man is making a strong case to be the heavy, bearer of the carries next season, right?
I would think so. I don't know.
Because they had going in, they had assumed he was going to be the guy leading the charge, but I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to sit Jamal Williams behind him at this point. I mean, he's shown you what he's capable of.
They do a good job of splitting those guys. Like, it's true 50-50 split backfield. Swift gets a lot of the middle of the field and receiving. Jamal Williams is their goal line. I think probably 10 of his 14 touchdowns are probably from the 1 yard line. So he's just like their strong goal line back, but he's leading the NFL in touchdowns. So good for him.
And on the flip side, Trevor Lawrence, he finished the day 17-31, 179 yards, 1 touchdown. Not going to get it done in this one. The Lions now have won 4 of their last 5 and remain in the crowded NFC playoff hunt at 5-7. We don't want the Lions to keep winning, Josh, okay? Because we need teams like the Lions, the Seahawks, and
even the Packers. Packers are 5-7.
We need them to just, stay down there. Just down. Get away, you. The Jags dropped to 4-8. The Cleveland Browns, they got a win 27-14, and Deshaun Watson bailed out by the defense and special teams in this one. The massage enthusiast went for 12 completions out of 22 attempts, 131 yards. These are Justin Fields passing numbers. No touchdowns, 1 pick, QBR of 53.4. Cleveland scored on a punt return. It was a scoop and score. They punt return, a scoop and score, and a pick 6. Excuse me. So, that's really what got it done. Yeah. It wasn't in any way a tip of the cap to the offense. The Browns' rushing attack, they were stout, however. They rushed for 174 yards, led by Nick Chubb and his 80 yards on 17 carries. The Browns now at 5-7, but still comfortably on the BRASH blacklist. Houston at 1-10-1. And they continue to have that firm, tight grasp of the number 1 overall draft pick.
Yeah, if they can't get it done against a team who puts up 6 points on offense, they're just pathetic at this point. Kyle Allen was starting for them. He looked like shit. I thankfully started Cleveland's defense in fantasy, and it just racked up some points. But otherwise, ugly game, gross, not fun to watch. In Houston, man, you thought like they would do something for the fans, show up and try and, I don't know, get everyone excited about something, and they just couldn't do it. They looked awful. So, gross game. Very gross.
Lovie Smith's the guy in Houston, right?
Lovie Smith is the coach.
He's got to go too. He's got to go. He makes the decision to take out Davis Mills, puts in Allen, and then now they're benching Allen and putting back in Mills. When you're doing that, you're a coach. You've lost the locker room. You have no fucking idea what you're doing. You have no business coaching an NFL team. Just retire mid-season. Just get the fuck out of there. Stop embarrassing yourself.
I mean, how many times are teams going to get fooled by the Lovie Smith experiment? Like, he's coached 3 different teams or something. Like, I think he's just a really good defensive coordinator, and that's about it.
I know. And I'm sure that the uppers in Houston are saying, well, I mean, we are Houston, so we just have a bad team. We got to cut them some slack. Nah, dude. No. I mean, to still not have a home win after 13 weeks, that's unacceptable. I don't care how bad you are.
Pretty bad.
Minnesota Vikings, they squeaked by against the New York Jets 27-22 because they had a comfortable lead and they actually had to hang on for a potential Jets rally. Justin Jefferson, not a typical Justin Jefferson day, 7 catches, 41 yards. But he did haul in what would be the game win, eventually was the game-winning touchdown with 8 minutes and 33 seconds remaining. And Mike White's 369 yards, not enough. 2 touchdowns or 2 interceptions. Also, just that's not gonna
help.
Prove costly for those Jets. But still, man, the guy just always throws for over 300 yards. What the fuck is going on with that guy? They had a chance, the Jets, to get a win in the end, but fell short. 4th and goal for the go-ahead opportunity. Vikings now 10-2, firmly ahead in that NFC North division, and only 1 game behind the Eagles in the conference. Although the Eagles have the tiebreaker, of course, because they got a week 2 or
it was week 2,
week 2 win. And now the Jets at 7-5, and they need to figure out the QB play to remain in the playoff picture. I still feel like we're going to see the Jets make it to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to take that nosedive that many may predict because they are the New York Jets, but I think they'll hang in there, man. They, on the other hand, unlike Denver and Houston, the Jets have a good head coach who gets the most out of mediocre play. So
I agree. I mean, they were still in this game till the very end. So, against the Vikings, it's not easy to do, especially in Minnesota, especially with the sun out. So, I don't know. The Jets are a weird one, man. That defense is stout. Sauce Gardner on Justin Jefferson. Like, he is the real deal. Sauce Gardner is for real. Their front seven's legit. Yep. If they just had a quarterback that didn't give away the games, they'd be in really good shape right now. But they got to figure that out. Otherwise, it's going to be an early exit in the playoffs if they make it, which I think they will.
Well, this is one you and I were paying close attention to on Sunday and texting throughout. The Washington Commanders in New Jersey taking on the Giants. It finished 20-20 in a tie. If NFL teams were people, these two would be identical twins. It's been proven now. They both have the same strengths, the same weaknesses. Neither could close it out. They both had opportunities.
So many opportunities for each team.
And the Skins are now sitting at 7-5-1. Giants 7-4-1 with the Eagles up next. So in all likelihood, when they meet the following week after the Skins get a nice little rest on their bye week, they'll share that 7-5-1 record going into that. And that matchup, as predicted, has been flexed to the Sunday Night Football spot. The loser of that likely out of the playoff picture in the NFC. So that is a must win for both teams. It's going to be so stressful. I don't know, man. I mean, I might have to take the 19th off of work because just to prepare myself for either a victory or loss, because either way, I'm going to be so overwhelmed. I'm not going to feel like clocking in on Monday. Okay. I'm going to be just completely out of it. I'll be on such a high if they win that, I'll be up till like 2:00 in the morning celebrating and just so bummed after a loss. I'm just being in such a pissy mood that I shouldn't be representing my company at that time.
Yeah, that's fair. I will be in North Carolina for that game. So I'll be with the boys, hanging out, rooting for the Giants. This game, it was like every time you thought your team would have a chance to win, they'd find a way to fuck it up, whether they were getting sacked and out of field goal range or not going for it on 4th down, which I thought we should have at one point. And then the other team would come and you're like, oh shit, here it is. Here's where they're going to put us away. And they wouldn't. And then it would go to the other team.
Yep.
dude, they're twins. They are twins, and that's all you can really say about it. They're such twins that they fucking tied each other. They tied the game.
So we'll see how things. I'm going to be watching closely as the Giants play the Eagles this upcoming week because, I mean, we're going to get into that, but
you got to scout your opponent.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, putting the film together, because
it could
I
be
think
real ugly for the Giants this weekend. So,
hey, Eagles have one loss, and who it's against. You're identical twins, so
true. That's very true.
There's a chance.
Very true.
There's a chance that we're both the kryptonite. The Eagles. Speaking of those bastards, they won 35-10 against the Tennessee Titans. Here's one of my upset specials of the week that didn't go quite as planned. The Eagles beat the piss out of the Titans in Philly. Jalen Hurts finished the day 29-39, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, just flawless. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Titans, after all that, they placed the blame on the general manager and not the head coach. They fired John Robinson on Tuesday because they just say, you know what, it's not the head coach. Let's take it easy on him. He has nothing to do with the game plan and the preparation. It's the general manager, Weird. That's very weird. I don't quite understand that. It's silly. I think if you're going to make a big move, you got to fire the head coach if you want to fire somebody after an embarrassing loss. But don't get me wrong. I like the Titans. You know me. I was high on the Titans all year, but I don't think it was called for firing anybody. Sometimes you get embarrassed. It happens, and the Eagles are a very good team. They are now 11-1, hands down the class of the NFC, and perhaps, dare I say, the NFL. Titans now fall to 7-5, but still lead the lowly, sad, pathetic AFC South. Luckily, they're in that division.
Yeah, the GM firing was very weird. You rarely see that in the NFL. A GM going mid-season. That's typically an off-season move. Yeah. Way more common to see a head coach fired. I personally wouldn't have fired Mike Vrabel. I don't think he's the problem. And I think
I wouldn't fire him either. I'm just saying, if you are going to make a statement fire, you go after the head coach before the general manager.
Especially mid-season. But I think it all has to do with the fact that A.J. Brown torched them, and the GM was responsible for trading A.J. Brown to the Eagles. So the owners saw that, and they were like, oh, this guy's an idiot, and just fired him on the spot. I don't know. Very strange, though. Very strange. And yeah, the Eagles look good, dude. The Titans completely took away their running game, and Jalen Hurts just said, okay, fine. You're going to leave my guys open. I'm just going to find them. And just had a hell of a game. He's a special quarterback, man. I hate to say it, but he's very, very good. And he can win in a variety of ways, and that defense is good enough to get it done. I think they're the only team top 5 in both offense and defense. I mean, that's just a scary combo. So good for them. Good for those fucking Eagles. I hate them, but good for them.
I called them the worst 10-1 team in NFL history last week, and now I have to retract that because they beat, in my opinion, a legit contender in the Titans. And not only they beat them, they embarrassed them.
Yeah.
So, Philly appear to be Super Bowl bound at this point. I don't see anything slowing them down minus Jalen Hurts' injury. I'm not hoping for that. I don't want anybody to get injured, but legitimately, that's the only thing that could stop that train from rolling at this point. Yeah. So it sucks. Those damn Eagles. Seattle Seahawks, they get a gimme against the LA Rams. Everybody that gets the Rams now, they're already doing their post-game celebration before kickoff because, now is the season to play these Rams. Now is the time, especially without Stafford and Kupp. Score there was 27-23, and it was DK Metcalf who got the go-ahead touchdown. It was an 8-yard pass from Geno Smith with 36 seconds remaining, and John Wolford, he made sure that there was no chance of the Rams having any overtime or miraculous victory. He 4 plays into the following drive, he threw the game-losing interception. The Hawks now sit at 7-5 after the much-needed win. Again, fighting for that wild card spot against your boys and my Skins. And the Rams are completely irrelevant at 3-9.
Yeah, they are bad. The Rams are so bad that they've claimed Baker Mayfield off waivers after the Panthers dropped him. Like
grasping.
That is the ultimate grasp.
Mm.
I mean, my God, so ugly, so bad. But Seattle wasn't beating this team. Like, Seattle had to come back and fight for this win, which surprised me. I think Seattle's taken a really big step back, and they're not the same team that we saw earlier in the season. So I'm not as worried as I was about Seattle, and I think when Seattle starts playing legit teams, they're going to start struggling again. I think there just wasn't enough film on Geno coming in. Like, you saw him play for other teams, different schemes and all those things, but I think teams are starting to figure out Geno, and I think that it's troublesome for the Seattle Seahawks. And I think Kenneth Walker's now out for a bit, and they could be in trouble. So I'm good with that, because I need the Giants to back in the playoffs at this point, the way that we're playing also. So
yeah, I mean, I when it comes to that final, that final wild card spot, I mean, I do feel like the Commanders have a lot of good things going for them. Our defense, is our strength. Seahawks defense, definitely not their strength, but I'll never doubt Pete Carroll again. Coming into the season, man, I was just so low on the Hawks. I thought they'd just be complete dog shit, and Pete Carroll proved me wrong, and he laughed and laughed when they traded, Russell Wilson, and I mean, they just a genius trade on his part. That's almost as good as when Andy Reid traded Donovan McNabb to us, and just and they just laughed to the bank,
Yeah.
It was just.
The pick right now that they got they got multiple picks, but the first round pick they got for Russ is now the 3rd overall pick.
It's awesome.
That's
so
how
good.
Crazy is that?
And they don't need to waste it on the quarterback. They don't need
No.
to waste it on the quarterback.
I think they go get, I think in the offseason, this is way off topic, but I think they go get a veteran. If they're going to make a move, they're not going to draft. They're not rebuilding, which I thought they would be. They're going to go get someone like Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers or something like that. I think they go get a veteran in the offseason.
I don't know, man. I could see him running it back one more year with Geno.
Maybe. We'll see how the season ends.
All right. Well, the San Francisco 49ers, they got the win against the Miami Dolphins. I wanted any reason to pick the Dolphins, but I did go with the Niners in this one, and they won 33-17. Jimmy G, he broke his foot in this one. He had to leave the game, but it was the Niners defense that took care of business themselves. And in comes Brock Purdy. That's right, Brock Purdy. He's surprisingly efficient, this Mr. Irrelevant. 25 of 37, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 1 pick. I mean, Miami's defense isn't known for being that great, but still, they're one of those top dogs in the NFL, and they didn't skip a beat. Garoppolo, he could possibly return. I heard this recently for the playoffs. They initially said done for the season, no chance, but perhaps the break wasn't as bad as first expected. So we know that these 49ers are going to make the playoffs. So if that happens, it'll be interesting to see how Brock Purdy does moving forward, and whether they're feeling like it's necessary to put Garoppolo back in there. Both these teams now at 8-4. Niners have won 5 straight. Miami loses their first game in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I was very impressed with little old Brock Purdy, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good. I mean, it doesn't take much to be a good quarterback on that team, right? You've got the schemes of Shanahan.
You can dink and dunk all the way.
Dink and dunk in that team. Yeah, like when you have Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, who are just short catch, long yardage specialists. I mean, fuck, I could play quarterback for the 49ers. And that defense shutting down the Dolphins the way they did. I mean, Tua to Tyreek Hill is just an unbelievable combination, but the 49ers limited it to some extent. They didn't let Waddle get going. They didn't let the run game get going. They were just phenomenal. They're such a good team. Brock Purdy, I don't know if he's the guy or not, but fuck, I don't think you need to be that good. I think Jimmy G proved that. I don't think Jimmy G's all that good, but we'll see. It could be real interesting because, yeah, he doesn't need foot surgery, which everyone thought he's going to. So now he can come back in 7 to 8 weeks, which would be, yeah, like his first, second round of the playoffs. But I don't know, man. If Brock Purdy is playing well, like you're going to put bumfoot Jimmy G out there against like a top tier NFC team. I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So we'll see, dude. I still think the 49ers are going to beat the shit out of a lot of teams just with the defense and Kyle Shanahan masterminding games alone. They can figure out how to win a lot of games.
Brock Purdy already a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. Funny fact. Throwing that out there. It's amazing how quickly that happens.
Call that.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my bold predictions. Yep.
Yeah, in the off season of us between podcasts, I texted you and I said, "Oh, dude, Baker to the 49ers, duh, makes so much sense." And then you saw that the Rams grabbed Baker. And it was like, "Oh, well, they grabbed him before the 49ers could." And then it came out nobody else in the NFL made a waiver claim to get Baker Mayfield. It was just the Rams. That's bad. When you have teams reeling for quarterbacks and the only team that goes out and gets you is the Rams, oof. That's
he's still going to retire after this year, and College Game Day here he comes.
He needs to. He'll be a College Game Day stud.
Get the chair ready for Baker Mayfield. It's happening. It's happening. Cincinnati Bengals, they got a big win over the Kansas City Chiefs. This was maybe the game of the week.
Yeah.
I thought for a second
I was celebrating.
Wait.
I was celebrating because I called this one.
27-24. Yep, this is one. This is what you predicted. You knew that the Bengals were red hot and nothing was going to stop them, even those red hot Kansas City Chiefs. But Joe Burrow, he is the true kryptonite of Mahomes and the Chiefs, winning his third straight matchup against them. He finished the day 25 of 31, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And Samaje Perine filling in once again for Joe Mixon. He's no schmuck. This guy, 21 carries, 106 yards on the ground, 6 catches, and 49 yards to boot through the air. The Bengals now have won 4 in a row, sit at 8-4, and the Chiefs, they are at 9-3. So 9-3, not too bad. But they are all Chiefs Nation is saying, please don't let us see these Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs, please.
Yeah, dude. It's 3 times in the calendar year that the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs. So I've been saying it for a while. Cincinnati's legit. I completely did a 180 on my preseason predictions, and I am all in on Cincinnati this year. They are so good, and they just know how to play the Chiefs. That happens, right? Like certain teams just know how to play other teams. And I think being at home was a huge benefit for them. And Joe Burrow, man, that guy is so fucking cool. He is just the coolest.
He's awesome.
He never gets riled up.
He's my favorite quarterback.
He just goes out there and gets shit done. Never lets anything get to him. Just a bad motherfucker. I mean,
I love Josh Allen, but Joe Burrow is my number one seed quarterback in the NFL right now.
Wow.
Las Vegas Raiders, they get the win over the Chargers 27-20, and the Chargers proved to everybody that they suck after falling to the Raiders because, I really thought the Chargers were going to be able to pull this one off because they needed it. They really needed it to, stay afloat, stay in the hunt. Nobody nobody can cover Devontae Adams. You know, once again, I think this is his fourth week in a row with over 100 yards receiving.
Yeah, I think so.
8 catches, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Vegas has now won 3 straight. Don't look now. They're at 5-7. Chargers have lost 3 of their last 4 and sit at 6-6. They're going to go pick up some sticks because that's all they're good for at this point. They are not going to the playoffs.
Yeah, Brandon Staley is another coach just on that hot seat with all the talent they have. And again, they're dealing with a lot of injuries, but so is everybody else, right? Everyone's got injury issues. The Ravens are so banged up. They're still 8-4. Like, the Chargers have a better roster, better quarterback. They can't figure out a way to win. They look so basic. I got to watch a lot of this game. The Chargers are the most basic offense, aside from the Broncos maybe in the league. They just don't do anything with all the playmakers they have. They don't do anything interesting or exciting. They run the same 10 plays and just hope that it gets it done. And Justin Herbert, he's got to step up a little bit. He's my guy. I went out on a ledge for this man. Yeah. And he's making me look really dumb right now, and I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. But I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. And I think that Brandon Staley's probably going to be gone after this year. Definitely gone if they don't make the playoffs, which right now they're on the outside looking in. So they got to figure it out, man, because this team is way too talented to just suck dicks every week.
Well, speaking of talent, Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, they have a lot of talent, too.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of sucking dicks.
No, well, that's the Indianapolis Colts. They lost to the Dallas Cowboys 54-19, and it was Dallas that scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. I think the Colts had just pretty much thrown in the freaking stinky white towel at that point. Matt Ryan threw 3 interceptions. He's destined for retirement after this year. Sorry, it was a fun little season while it lasted. Sorry, Colts. Tony Pollard once again led the charge with 91 yards off of only 12 carries, 2 touchdowns. Why they keep entertaining this Ezekiel Elliott thing, I have no idea. Ooh. He's only good against the New York Giants, okay? And Dallas have now won their last 3. They sit at 9-3.
I mean, they split the carries pretty evenly between Pollard and Zeke. And Pollard gets
but Pollard just has a much better average, dude. And he just has a nose for the end zone. I don't like Zeke. I don't know.
Of course not. But they've done a lot better in my mind of getting Pollard involved. Like, a year ago, they would only give him the ball 5 times a game, and he would be stellar. And you'd be like, why aren't you getting him the ball? This year, at least he's in the starting rotation. Like, Zeke is kind of playing second fiddle to him. Yeah, I agree. Any touches are too many for Zeke. He sucks. But at least they're finally coming to their senses. And I think they rotate Zeke in so much because they're protecting Tony Pollard for the future. They don't want to give him too many reps, right? Especially when they are blowing teams out, and really just that defense, they don't need to do much, man. That defense is so good. They don't have to run Pollard to death. So scary right now, man. The fucking Eagles and the Cowboys are dominating. This is not good. How did this happen?
I'm not worried about the Cowboys, though, come playoff time. I'm sorry.
No. They'll blow it.
They could be 17-0 going into the playoffs. Yeah. I am not worried about the Cowboys going into the playoffs. Just remember that. The Monday Night Football matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get the win over the Saints. Thank God I had a bad week. If I've said it once, I'll say it again. I ruined our parlay early on because if I had a good week, then it would have come down to this last game on Monday night where it looked like the Saints were going to pull the upset. They dominated the whole entire game. They completely blew it in the final. Brady led the Bucs down the field, back-to-back touchdown drives in those final 5 minutes. And now the Bucs are at 6-6, and they will only make the playoffs because they're in that shitty NFC South division. I mean, I'm sorry. The Bucs are another one. Like, they just get lucky, and the luckiest thing being the NFC South this season, the fact that there's no other respectable quarterback in that division other than Tom Brady, but they're going to lose right away in the playoffs too. So I'm not going to, start getting all high on the Buccaneers here.
Yeah, I think that they're good, right? They've got a lot of talent on their roster. I don't know what I think their issue is probably coaching as well. Because as soon as Tom Brady just went no huddle and started calling their own plays, aka the final 5 minutes, which is the only time they were able to move the ball in the Saints all game, that's when they were having some progress. That's when they came back and won. So I don't know what's going on. Like Leftwich, is he calling bad plays? I don't really know, but I'm not going to write off the Bucs, man. I would never write off a team as talented as them with Tom Brady at the quarterback position. I wouldn't write them off. Now, I will say this: they need to make the playoffs first, and right now, maybe not the Saints, but the Panthers and the Falcons are still very much alive in that division. So they've got to figure out how to get in the playoffs before they can shake things up. But with all that said, I wouldn't count him out, man, because as soon as you count Tom Brady out, like on Monday night, is when he comes back and fucking gets you. So
against Andy Dalton and the Saints, but I don't think they would have any business being on the same field as the Philly Eagles or the Minnesota Vikings this season. So
yeah, they wouldn't have to play either of those teams though. Like I think they can get through any of the wild card teams that get through in the NFC.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Well, like if the Giants or Redskins or Seahawks had to go to Tampa Bay, could get ugly for them.
Okay,
it'll most likely be the Cowboys that go down there though.
Heineke has a bone to pick with those Bucs in Tampa.
You're right.
So
you're actually
we got to
right.
see that. We got to see that.
If Heineke goes into Tampa Bay, it's easy win for the Redskins because Heineke is a Tom Brady killer.
Well, before we get into the Thursday night preview and our pick 'em for that one, let's just quickly go to our, the whole mix up that we've done to our power rankings or shake up, I should say. Things have changed quite a bit from last week. We were back to back. We had the same top five. We shook it up just a tad. You want to go first with your top five? I mean,
sure.
They're pretty similar, but
yeah. So, as always, I just do who do I think could beat who. Right now, I think the Eagles are the hardest team to beat in the NFL, so they're in my number one spot. I think they can beat any other team.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
They're very good. I mean, fuck, dude, you kill their running game. Jalen Hurts will beat you over the top. If you shut them down, they can run it against you. Their defense is solid. Fucking Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. Number two, I still have the Chiefs in there. I still think on a neutral field, they are legit. I still think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and Andy Reid is the best coach right now. So a loss to the Bengals in Cincinnati is not going to throw them out too far. And in third, I have the Bengals, who have been in my top five for 2 weeks now. So I've been high on these guys. They're in my third spot. I think they beat any team easily in the AFC other than the Chiefs, unless they're at home, in which case they will beat the Chiefs. And then in my fourth spot, making their debut in the power rankings are the Dallas fucking Cowboys, because they are just nasty with it on defense. This is obviously regular season only. As soon as we get into the playoffs, they will fall drastically because they are so bad in the playoffs. And then in my fifth spot, I've got the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Making the first time in my top five, because right now I can't trust San Francisco with Brock Purdy. I don't know what he looks like. They could easily climb back in. I still think they're the best defense, best roster, everything, but I can't trust them. I can't have them in my top five with an unknown guy. And then I have the Dolphins falling out too, because they just looked very beatable. I think that the 49ers exposed them, and I think that I don't know. They could be in some trouble moving forward. I don't think they're quite, maybe not as good as I thought they were. So Eagles, Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, Bills. That's my top 5.
I did put good defense into consideration for my top 5 this week, but I really believe that a top offense gets you further in today's NFL than a top defense, because the refs and their love for the offense and throwing those flags. So number 1, I agree. I go with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. I just don't see anybody beating them. They're just clicking on all cylinders, and they're a scary matchup for any of the other 31 teams. Cincinnati Bengals get the number 2 spot. Also putting quarterback into the equation here. Joe Burrow, I think he's playing just better than any other quarterback in the NFL right now. That brings me to my 3rd spot. Surprisingly, it's the Buffalo Bills, because I think Josh Allen is back. He went through that little, that rocky period in the season. I think they brushed that off, and you won't see him look like that moving forward. He's gonna be stellar for the remainder of the year into the playoffs. Kansas City Chiefs fall to number 4. I have them in the number 4 spot, not number 5, because of their quarterback. And again, that high-powered offense and the creativeness with Andy Reid's offense. And then at number 5, I got to give the Cowboys their due, man. Cowboys now, in that 5 spot, and they could easily jump 1 or 2 spots by next week, depending on how they look. Assuming they don't have a bye. I don't even really know. I didn't really check that, but
I think they've already had theirs.
Okay, that's what I was assuming. But so yeah, Eagles, Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, Cowboys. Oh my. Those are my power rankings
so
after 13 weeks of play.
So same teams in here for the first time, right?
Yep.
We just got them a little out of order, but
and we both kicked the 49ers out just because of Brock Purdy. I mean, now if he comes out next week and just balls the fuck out, and then
they might move to number 1 in my book.
Then you gotta be like, oh shit, okay.
They could make
Purdy seriously.
They could make the biggest jump in power ranking history.
Yep.
Because right now I have them like 6. They're like the first.
You're right.
Out.
You're right. Definitely a solid 6.
But they could scream up to that number 1 spot if Brock Purdy comes out and just lights the world on fire. Who knows? They might have a little diamond in the rough, man. Mr. Irrelevant, chip on the shoulder, just coming out, balling out. Who knows? But I actually texted you and said, if the 49ers pull this off, they're my number 1 team. And then I thought about it. I was like, that's ridiculous. You can't have a team at number 1 when you don't know the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So,
you get more.
But all the other pieces around the quarterback, those 21 other guys, they're the best team in the league. In my opinion.
I heard somebody, I called him Mr. Irrelevant because I heard somebody on ESPN refer to him as Mr. Irrelevant. Was he truly the last pick of the NFL draft?
He was the last pick of the NFL draft.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. So I'm rooting for him.
Of course, dude. That would be a hell of a story.
Yeah. Beat Mr. BP. All right.
Okay.
Let's get through this Thursday night football preview and pick 'em, because I got a dog here who's losing his shit.
He's up your ass right now.
He's about to take a shit in the studio because he's ready to go out. So
good news is not a game to really go too far into.
No. I mean, according to what you put together here, you said that the Las Vegas Rams are playing the LA Rams. This should be an interesting matchup, because I didn't know.
On my end,
didn't know the Raiders have rebranded mid-season, but especially on a 3-game winning streak. That's strange. But no, the Raiders 5-7, going to LA to take on the Rams, licking their chops. Raiders currently favored by 5, and the over/under at 43.5. I would be absolutely stunned, Josh, if you convinced me why I should go with the Rams here. You know me, I like my home teams on Thursday night, but actually, I think like the last 6 weeks, That's proven to be just complete bullshit. So that means absolutely. It started off pretty good the beginning of the season, and then that's just died off. So you just got to go with who's the better team right now, and it's overwhelmingly Derek Carr and Devontae Adams and those Raiders, who are on a hot streak, going up against maybe the worst team in the NFL next to the Texans, right?
Yeah, they're really bad.
Or the Broncos, duh.
The Broncos,
Texans, Rams, Broncos. You know,
the Broncos are my least favorite team.
Same category.
Mostly because they burn me. Yeah, I think it's the Raiders, but I also think it's closer. I think you can put Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams to slow him down. I think if you can generate a pass rush, get Derek Carr a little uneasy, I think you can do that. Let's not forget, like, the Raiders looked really bad for the first part of the season. And
their offensive line's still not that good.
Still not that good. You can get some pressure on Carr. You do have that shutdown corner in Jalen Ramsey that you can just say, dude, stick to Devontae Adams like glue. He'll still get his. He'll still probably have 8 catches and 120 yards or whatever. But if you can keep him out of the end zone and keep that score tight, I like the Raiders to win, but I don't trust that line. I am almost thinking Rams +5 might be the play if you're gambling. Also, over under 43.5. That feels like too many points. I think you got to go under. This has a 17-13 feel to me. Maybe like 20-17 type game. Okay. Where the Raiders just kind of edge them out, and the Rams are just holding on for dear life. Who knows? I don't know how they put points on the board now. If Cam Akers is back, I guess. I don't know, but
I have no confidence in this Rams offense. So
no, same.
I don't think they're going to be able to put up many points, and if they do, it'll because of their defense putting them in nice, very very short yardage positions.
Yes.
After a quick turnover, so I do like the 5 points here. Let's see. Do I like the 43.5? That's the question. I guess I like. No, I don't, because my score, I have 43 points being scored. So
shit.
Under by a hair, 27-16.
Oh wow. Okay. So you got Raiders covering easily, and you've got just a hair under the. That means you're not the over under. I will say this: forget everything I said if Baker Mayfield is playing, because there are rumors.
No chance.
There are rumors he could be starting.
Sean McVay would not do that. He just unless he's going full blown tank. Which, if he's talked to the owner and they've given him the nod, they say, go for the tank.
I'm just saying. I've heard.
That's the tank sign language.
I heard from numerous sources that Baker could be starting, and if Baker starts, it is a rout. The Raiders win by 100. So let's wrap this thing up. Your poor dog is about to shit all over.
He's gonna shit all over
your house.
All right, buddy. Well,
all right.
With that
does it.
I guess I'm going to take the dog out, and I will catch you on the next one.
All right. See you, Brandon. See you, Gus.
Wait, he's licking the microphone. All right, later, man. Peace.